3 bone-chilling cabin in the woods horror stories that will haunt you forever. Deep in the heart of the woods, where shadows danced between gnarled trees and the wind whispered dark secrets, sat an old cabin shrouded in mystery. Legends told of unspeakable horrors that haunted the walls, where something lurked beyond the creaking floorboards, something hungry, something sinister. It was a place that had swallowed the souls of the curious, leaving only chilling echoes behind, a warning to those brave enough to venture too close. One night in late October, a group of friends decided to push their luck, eager for thrills. They never could have anticipated the flood of dread that awaited them, a dread thick enough to suffocate. As they approached the cabin, fog rolled in like a shroud, veiling their nervous laughter. An old swing swayed eerily on the front porch, creaking with an unsettling rhythm. The door stood ajar, as if inviting them in. Jamie, the boldest of the group, dared to step inside. It was darker than they expected, the air cold and stale, as if it had been trapped for years. The walls seemed to watch, and as they gathered their flashlights, a strange, guttural sound curled through the air, making their skin crawl. They exchanged nervous glances, trying to shake off the feeling that they weren't alone. In the living room, a dusty record player sat silently, its needle poised as if it was waiting for someone to wake it from slumber. When Jamie flipped the switch, the unmistakable sound of a distorted melody filled the room. But the music only seemed to amplify the dread, twisting into haunting wails that clawed at their sanity. They felt a heaviness in their hearts, a tightness in their chests. Every shadow seemed to twitch, waiting to spring to life. And just when they thought they could brush off the fear, a whisper echoed through the cabin, a voice, soft yet unmistakably sinister. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." The moment hung thick in the air, a suspenseful silence only broken by the crackle of the old record. Then, the temperature plummeted. They could see their breaths swirling before them. It felt wrong, so wrong. "Did you hear that?" Lily's voice trembled, blending in with the ghostly melody. Another whisper flitted by, this time a little clearer, a name. Cassandra. Who was Cassandra? And why did it feel like the name was uttered with such longing, as if it was a plea or a curse? As they moved deeper into the cabin, a sudden crash echoed from the kitchen, sending them jumping back. It was a window, shattered by something unseen. The laughter vanished, replaced by a raw panic bubbling in their throats. They could sense that whatever had lingered in this place was waking, and it was not happy to see guests. But were they brave enough to find out who or what Cassandra was and what it wanted? Could they survive the night, or would it be the last chapter in their story? Their hearts pounded in unison, a frantic drumbeat against the walls of despair that surrounded them. The sudden crash felt like the cabin itself had awoken, vexed by their intrusion. Jamie stepped forward, eyes darting wildly between the shattered window and the threatening shadows encroaching on the dim light of their flashlights. "Come on, it was just the wind," he said, but even he could hear the tremor in his own voice. The cold air thickened, wrapping around them like a vice, squeezing out the last vestiges of courage they mustered. "Really, you think a shattered window is just the wind?" Alex laughed nervously, his voice cracking. "The wind doesn't scream Cassandra, right?" Suddenly, the record player sputtered, shooting out a burst of static that made them jump. The melody started again, a warped echo of the previous tune infused with desperation. It sounded almost like crying. "Let us find the source of that name," Lily whispered, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and determination. The others hesitated but ultimately nodded, the sticky glue of dread binding them together. They moved toward the kitchen, the air thick with the scent of decay only heightened by the broken window. Every creak of the floorboard sent chills skittering down their spines. Jamie crossed the threshold first. The air was heavier in here, saturated with something foul. What was that? Lily gasped as a shadow darted past the corner of her eye. Everyone whirled around, flashlights flickering like fireflies in the vast darkness. There's nothing, Jamie started to say, but his voice died off as a cold gust blew through the kitchen, extinguishing their lights momentarily. Panic gripped them. They fumbled for their flashlights, and as the beams flickered back to life, they revealed something chilling. A figure stood in the far corner, cloaked in darkness. Its presence was almost tangible, an oppressive weight pressing against their chests, filling them with fear. "Who are you?" Jamie demanded, voice steadier than he felt. The figure remained silent, unmoving as if it was waiting for something or someone. Then came the whisper, echoing tantalizingly close now. Cassandra. Alex's face paled, his mouth opening but no words came out. Suddenly, the figure lunged forward, revealing a horrific visage, skin stretched taut across bones, dark hollow eyes glinting with malicious intent. "Run!" Lily screamed, instinct kicking in before any thought. Panic surged through the group as they ran, bursting through the door and stumbling onto the porch under the sickly silver glow of the moon. Heartbeats thundered in their ears as they scrambled down the steps, and the woods around them seemed to stir ominously, rustling with the weight of unseen watchers. "Did you see that?" Jamie gasped, glancing back. The door swung open abruptly, creaking as if something invisible dragged it wide. "What is that thing?" "Cassandra, it's her, we need to leave." Alex shouted, desperation sharpening every syllable. The woods closed in around them, the shadows shifting as if alive, stretching toward them. They ran into the thick fog that shrouded the ground, feeling the branches reach for their arms, pulling them back. "Wait!" Lily spun around, fear etched on her face. "We need to know what happened to Cassandra. What if we can help her?" The words hung in the mist, a conundrum threatening to break their resolve. Could they truly take on whatever darkness resided in the cabin? The name echoed in their minds. Was it a plea for help or a curse? The wind howled, unsettling the trees and carrying the weight of their decision. And as they stood, teetering between dread and determination, something rustled in the shadows behind them. Whatever they decided, the night had only just begun, and the cabin wasn't done with them yet. The sound of rustling leaves was unmistakable, like 1,000 whispers swirling around them. Jamie's heart raced as he spun, catching a glimpse of movement just beyond the trees. A sickening dread settled in his stomach. "Guys, we shouldn't be here," he murmured, barely audible over the frantic beating of his heart. "Just a minute, Jamie." Lily shot back, voice rising with urgency. "We can't just leave without knowing what's going on with her. We owe it to Cassandra." Alex's eyes widened in alarm. What if it's a trap? What if we're not meant to find out? An agonizing silence followed, thick with unsaid fears. Then, a low groan echoed from the cabin behind them, sending a jolt through their spines. The door remained wide open, darkness spilling out like a thick fog ready to consume them. "Enough." Jamie gritted his teeth. "We can't stay here. It's not safe." Lily was resolute, stepping deeper into the fog. "If that's her name, then she needs our help. We can't just run from this. I can't believe you guys want to go back after what we saw." Alex shouted, panic coursing through every word. "She might be," but before he could finish, an anguished scream pierced the air, chilling them to the bone. It sounded like it originated from within the cabin, raw and desperate, clawing through the fog like a tangible hand. Lily froze, her determination wavering. I think we have to see." "No." Jamie shouted, grabbing her arm tightly. "We can't. That's exactly what it wants." But it was too late. As if pulled by an unseen force, Lily broke free from Jamie's grip and dashed toward the open door, her silhouette swallowed by the imminent darkness. "Lily, wait!" Alex yelled. But she was already gone, her voice blending with the insistent wail that echoed through the cabin. Panic surged like a tidal wave in Jamie and Alex, and without thinking, they chased after her, plunging into the darkness. Inside the cabin, it felt like the walls themselves sighed around them, a heavy, oppressive gloom that pressed down on their shoulders. Flickering shadows danced eerily across the walls, and the fading echoes of Lily's footsteps blended with the fading record's haunting melody, circling them into despair. "Lily!" Jamie called, the name trembling on his lips. "Over here." Her voice broke through the oppressive silence, a beacon in the dark, but it was laced with a fear that sent shivers down Jamie's spine. They stepped cautiously into the living room, the flashlight beams cutting through the gloom. Dust motes swirled in the air like ghostly figures trapped in the grip of time. There was an otherworldly beauty in the chaos and unsettling stillness surrounding the overturned furniture and broken glass, but the beauty was dark and twisted, hiding something sinister beneath its surface, and then they spotted her, hunched over in the far corner, her lithe form barely visible amidst the shadows. "Lily!" Jamie shouted, relief flooding him, but as they approached, it fell away like ash. She wasn't he alone. The figure that loomed beside her was the same ominous presence they had encountered before. Its hollow eyes glimmered with darkness, twisting the room into a realm of nightmares. "Lily, come back!" Alex cried, almost desperate as he reached out, imploring. But Cassandra's voice, soft and haunting, threaded through the air like a spider's silk. "Help me, please." Frozen, Jamie's breath caught in his throat. The cabin throbbed with malice, and with every moment, the walls seemed to close in tighter. What would they end up finding, freedom or something far worse? Suddenly, the ground shook, sending them crashing to the floor as a low rumble filled the air. The darkness pulsed, the cabin groaned, and the malignant energy wrapped around them, chilling to the core. "Run!" Jamie screamed again, the bottom of his stomach twisting into knots. But the door slammed shut, sealing them in, their way out trapped in a cage of swirling illusions. Was it too late to unravel the truth of Cassandra? As the shadows crept closer, they could feel the sharp edges of dread slicing into their hearts. They knew they had to make a choice. Fight or flee. In that moment of chaos, uncertainty gripped them tighter than any fear they had known before, but one question echoed in their minds: what truly awaited them in the heart of the cabin? The walls seemed to pulse, as if alive, breathing in the fear that churned in the air. Jamie's pulse thundered in his ears, drowning out the world outside. He could feel the dampness in the air closing in, weaving through his clothes, clinging to him like a shroud. "Lily!" He yelled again, scrambling to his feet, eyes darting from the shadowy figure to his friend crouched in the corner. Desperation clawed at his throat. "What have you done?" Alex's voice trembled, filled with disbelief as he stepped closer to Cassandra's dark presence. "This can't be real. You can't be real." Cassandra turned slowly, the edge of her mouth curling into a smile that sent a chill racing down Jamie's spine. Her eyes were deep voids, pools of darkness reflecting their terror. "Help me, just help me." The way she spoke felt like a spell trying to ensnare him, and yet, she was not his friend. "No. That's not Cassandra." Jamie shouted, shaking his head, trying to clear the suffocating haze wrapping around his thoughts. "It's not her." But Lily was entranced, her body swaying as though under some hypnotic incantation. "Jamie, she's in pain. We have to help her." "Stop." Jamie lunged forward, grabbing Lily's arm firmly. "You don't know what she wants. This is a trap. Let go of me." Her voice broke, a mix of anger and fear. She wrenched her arm free, stepping back toward the looming figure. "No." Alex lunged forward, but the cabin groaned again, louder this time, a living beast shaking beneath their feet. "Don't. She's not who you think she is." But as Cassandra stepped forward, her shadow loomed larger, wrapping around Lily like tendrils of smoke. It concealed Lily's face, masking her fear with false comfort. "Help me," Cassandra repeated, her voice a sweet poison. Fighting against the rising tide of dread, Jamie stepped closer. He had to break the spell, snap Lily out of it. Look at her. Look at what she has become. Cassandra's head tilted, her smile spreading unnaturally wide. You'll be next, Jamie. You'll want to join us. I promise. Forever. The word struck Jamie like ice. He had to act fast. Lily, listen to me. He directed all his attention to her, hoping to pierce through the fog. This isn't real. You can't trust her. For a moment, the flicker of hesitation crossed her face, but then it was gone, overshadowed by the captivating allure of Cassandra's voice. You feel it, don't you? The relief? Freedom from the pain. What pain? There's nothing here but darkness. Jamie shouted desperately, the cabin shook again as though responding to his words. The wind howled outside as if the very woods were alive, sharing in their horror. Shadows danced on the walls, growing bolder. Stay with me, Jamie, Cassandra purred, her voice soft and inviting, you needn't fear. All of this can be yours. No. Jamie's resolve solidified. We have to get out. Without thinking, he grabbed Alex's arm and yanked him away from the scene. We need to leave now. In that moment, the ground beneath them shuddered violently, sending cracked spiderwebbing across the floor. The air grew colder, suffocating, a curtain of despair draping itself over the trio as they stumbled backward toward the door, but the door was gone. A wall had emerged in its place, sealing them in. Cassandra laughed, the sound echoing painfully, wrapping around them, a serpent tightening its grip. There's no escape from what lies ahead. Jamie's heart raced. Their breaths came out in ragged gasps, uncertainty gnawing at the edges of their resolve. What do we do? Alex whimpered, his eyes wide with fear. Lily, her face pale and lost, turned back toward the figure. I don't know what to believe anymore. Jamie felt a twist in his chest, doubt clawing at him. They were running out of time. The walls were pushing in, squeezing them tighter. Fight! He shouted, hope flickering like a dying flame. We can't give in. But deep within, he wondered, could they resist the call of the darkness, or would it consume them, pulling them into its depths forever? The shadows closed in, and the whispers grew louder, drowning out every rational thought. What was the truth here? As Cassandra's laughter echoed, a grim thought crossed Jamie's mind, would fighting the darkness just bring it closer, or would surrendering to it seal their fate? The air thickened around them, choking off any glimmer of hope. Jamie's heart raced as the chill seeped into his bones, numbing his senses. We need to break her hold on you, Lily. He shouted, stepping forward again, but the darkness pulsed in response, almost mocking him. Lily's eyes shimmered, glistening like tears waiting to fall. Jamie, please. Her voice trembled. She's offering a way out from the pain. Pain like what? He pressed, desperation slicing through him. You think this is freedom? Being trapped in someone else's darkness? Cassandra's laughter echoed, a cruel melody spinning from shadows. Oh, Jamie, she doesn't need reminding. The past can eat away at you, but I can help her forget. Forever. A glint of something sharp, was it hope or despair? Flashed across Lily's face. Maybe it's time to let go of it all. No. Jamie shouted, furious and scared. You're not giving up. You can't leave us. He lunged forward, grasping Lily's shoulders, forcing her to meet his gaze. Fight it. Remember the time we spent together? The summer hikes, your laugh echoing through the forest. Her brow furrowed, shadows flickering across her face, battling with the light in her eyes. For a moment, she was back, a glimpse of the friend he cherished. But as Cassandra stepped closer, it was as if the air thickened, wrapping around Jamie like icy fingers. He turned to Alex, who stood paralyzed, wide-eyed, deeply enmeshed in the dark enchantment. Alex. Help me. With a jolt, Alex blinked and took a shaky step back. What do we do? She's lying. Do you hear me? Jamie barked. We can't fall for this. We can't give in. Cassandra leaned closer, her voice a sultry whisper that wrapped around them like smoke. You think you can resist forever? The truth is, Jamie, you're scared. You know deep down that you want this, but it's easier to hide behind anger. With a roar, Jamie shook Lily again. Fight for us. Fight for yourself. Finally, realization struck Lily's face like a thunderclap. Her eyes widened as if coming out of a dream. Jam. I can't remember. Just hold on, he breathed, a lump forming in his throat. Please. But the cabin creaked, a furious noise as the walls squeezed tighter. A seam split through the floorboards, sending splintering feet, jagged and raw, down into the darkness lurking beneath. Jamie felt panic clawing its way up his chest. Run! They turned in unison, it was instinct now, the primal urge to escape. But the shadows twisted, wrapping around their legs, attempting to pull them back. Each tug felt like a vice, and Jamie struggled to maintain balance. Keep moving. Alex shouted, his resolve hardening as he grabbed Jamie's shoulder, yanking him along. Just as they reached an opening that somehow appeared, a suffocating presence stopped them. Cassandra stood, filling the frame of the doorway, a dark sentinel blocking their exit. You think this will end well? The darkness you fear is within you, Jamie. You can never run far enough. Jamie hesitated at the uncertainty, stunned by her words. Had their fight just begun, or were they running headlong into a trap? As the floor shuddered again, a moment of clarity struck him. Give me your hand, Lily. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. But then, shifting and flickering within the grasp of the shadows, Lily reached for him, a symbol of her wavering strength. The moment felt suspended, like the chaos of their surroundings paused, waiting for the outcome. Then, as Cassandra's laughter filled the air, Jamie had an idea, a desperate, reckless gamble. We have to channel their power. Use the connection. What would they unleash in the struggle to escape? Would the darkness swallow them whole, or could it be a tool for their survival? The shadows swirled violently, their tendrils writhing like snake-like whispers at the edges of Jamie's vision. He could feel Lily's hesitant grip in his own. It was warmth against the cold around them, a fragile tether between survival and despair. Just hold on. He urged, his heart pounding. Cassandra's laughter rolled out again, deep and echoing inside the room, saturating the air like poison. You think you have the power to escape? Let her go, Jamie. Your fight is futile. This will only lead to more suffering. No. Jamie yelled, pushing himself closer to the dark entity. I choose to fight. I choose to embrace whatever it takes to save Lily. Right now, we're stronger together. The shadows seized at his words, recoiling as if stung. For a brief moment, a flicker of light sparked in Lily's eyes, mingling with the anguish that twisted her features. She opened her mouth, voice trembling. Jamie, I don't know who I am without the pain. It's all I've ever known. Then let us redefine who you are. He shouted back, feeling the weight of desperation buckle his knees. You are not your pain. You are more than this darkness. Remember our campfire nights? The stories? Your smile. You are a warrior, Lily. With every word, Cassandra's form began to blur, anger feeding off the light that emanated from Jamie's determination. But now was not the time for hope to slip back. He could see both his friends wavering, battling against the pull of Cassandra's insidious influence. Lily, fight. You're not her puppet. He urged again, pulling her closer. Show her you're alive. Use what she said against her. You know the pain, yes, but you also know joy. Use it. He felt an electric surge through the air, a strange synchronicity overriding the dark presence. It jolted Lily back, her other hand now reaching out. "Jamie, help me remember." "Yes. Look back. Remember every moment we created." As Jamie's voice rose, they felt a rush of heat enveloping them, as if lit by an invisible flame. Cassandra's confident demeanor faltered, her smile now wiped clean. "No. This isn't how it's supposed to be." But it was too late. Jamie and Lily closed their eyes, embracing the swell of memories, recounting laughter echoing in the woods, the warmth of friendship, the fires burning low. The shadows erupted, stretching and writhing against the growing light, howling in frustration. Alex, now fully awake to the chaos surrounding them, started chanting words that flowed like a river. "Together. We rise together. Let us break free." Jamie shouted, using every ounce of will to channel their fears into strength, their struggles into power. With a shocking force, the darkness broke apart, the cabin groaning in uneasy protest. As light streamed in, it pierced the heart of the shadows like a sword, illuminating the grotesque features of Cassandra. Her form twisted in agony, the shadows surrounding her recoiling violently. Suddenly, the walls of the cabin began to splinter, debris flying as daylight clashed against the dark. But just as they felt the rush of freedom, a piercing scream erupted from Cassandra's mouth. It was a sound that scraped against their souls, reverberating with the kind of fury that threatened to swallow the light whole. "You think you have won?" she howled, her eyes flashing with pure malice, her figure dissipating into swirling smoke. "You'll never escape what I am." Before Jamie or Lily could process her final words, the ground beneath them trembled violently, sending a wave of terror through their chests. "Run!" Alex shouted again, his voice tinged with urgency. As they stumbled toward the doorway that had miraculously opened wide, Jamie caught one last look at the shadows clawing their way back, furious. Something felt fundamentally shifted. They were free, but at what cost? What had they truly unleashed? With that burning question echoing in his mind, they leapt through as the cabin shuddered behind them, collapsing into itself like a dark star. What lay ahead, outside the oppressive walls? Was the battle truly over, or had they merely unleashed a deeper horror that now lurked beyond the threshold? The trio stumbled into the blinding sunlight, gasping as though they had just surfaced from underwater. Their senses scrambled, the brightness of the day felt foreign and surreal compared to the suffocating darkness they had just escaped. Jamie shielded his eyes, instinctively looking around for signs of danger. "Is it over?" Lily's voice trembled, still clouded with uncertainty. The light reflected off her wide eyes, but they held both fear and hope. "I don't know," Jamie said, scanning the area. "Cassandra is gone, but something doesn't feel right." A high-pitched whimper caught their attention. They turned to see Alex, frozen just a couple of steps back, staring at something in disbelief. "What's wrong?" Jamie followed his gaze, and his heart sank. The woods erupted with the sounds of rustling leaves and snapping branches. Figures emerged, tattered shadows cloaked in darkness, their twisted forms resembling human shapes but grotesquely distorted. They moved with jerky movements, disjointed like marionettes with tangled strings. "Run!" Jamie shouted, adrenaline surging through his veins as he pulled Lily along. "We need to get to town now." But as they sprinted, each step felt heavy, thickened with dread, the trees around them whispering taunts. The ground trembled as the shadows followed, their laughter chilling Jamie to the bone. In the distance, shimmering in the sunlight, stood an old, rusted truck, its faded paint barely visible beneath a layer of grime. "There. We can use that." Jamie pointed, urgency spilling over in his voice. "Hurry." The truck's door creaked open with ominous slowness, revealing a mess of crumpled papers and broken glass upon the seat. "Oh man, this thing stinks." Alex grimaced, quickly clearing a path. "But we can't let them." The sound of howling cut through the air, louder this time, clearer. It didn't just echo from behind them, it echoed in the very trees surrounding them, pulsating with a rhythm that made the hair on Jamie's neck stand on end. "Get in. Now," Jamie urged, as Lily climbed in beside Alex. He took one last look at the pursuing shadows before jumping into the driver's seat. As he turned the key, static noises spat from the radio, a cacophonous blend of voices overlapping. It felt unsettling, like lost souls crying out for help. "Come on, come on." He twisted the key again, panic rising. Finally, the engine roared to life, rattling the very air around them. Without a second thought, he pressed the gas, sending gravel spinning beneath the tires. The truck jolted forward, propelling them into the open road, but relief was short-lived. As they gained speed, Jamie could see the dark forms shifting closer, their grotesque limbs stretching as if they were reaching for the truck. "Faster!" Lily shouted, her voice filled with terror, and then it happened like a wave crashing against the shoreline. Shadows surged, leaping above the truck, their disfigured faces peering in through the windows. Their hollow eyes bored into Jamie, feeding off his fear. "Look out!" Alex screamed as one shadow slid down the hood, scratching ferociously at the glass. Jamie felt his heart race as he swerved, the vehicle skidding dangerously on the road. "Hold on." He desperately fought to regain control, but the shadows pressed closer, their laughter echoing in a cacophony of madness. "They're trying to get inside." With every ounce of strength, Jamie slammed his foot on the gas again, but the shadows laughed, weaving in and out like smoke. He knew they were losing ground, and something deep inside him screamed that they had only scratched the surface of the horror that pursued them, and then he saw it. The horizon ahead was darkening, the sky brooding in ominous hues. Something dreadful lingered there, something that eclipsed even the shadows. "Are we headed towards it?" Lily gasped, gripping the edges of her seat. In that moment, Jamie realized it wasn't just the cabin they had escaped from. The true horror was waiting beyond the threshold of the woods, and they were heading straight towards it. What haunted fate awaited them beyond the looming darkness? Why did the shadows seem intent on dragging them back, into the very heart of their nightmares? The truck thundered down the road, tearing away from the sinister grasp of the woods, but a heavy feeling rested on Jamie's chest. The horizon loomed ahead, dark and oppressive, a storm brewing, echoing the chaos within their minds. The shadows chased them, relentless, their laughter swelling like a tidal wave ready to crash. "Faster, Jamie. Please." Lily screamed, her voice barely audible over the howl of the wind. The panic in her eyes mirrored his own, and it gripped him like a vice. His knuckles turned white around the steering wheel as he pushed the pedal further down. The engine roared, drowning out the grotesque sounds outside. He could feel the truck shudder beneath him, the ground beneath it trembling in response to their speed. Behind them, the figures multiplied, stretching across the landscape like dark, flickering flames. Their forms flickered in and out of existence, taunting Jamie, their whispers creeping into his ear. Memories, fears, what they had left behind in the cabin began to invade his mind. Cassandra's face, the terror etched on it as they fled, the desperate look of betrayal that screamed, "Help me. Jamie, look out." Alex's voice snapped him back, pulling him from the abyss of his thoughts. In an instant, a figure darted into the road ahead, eyes glinting with malice. Jamie swerved hard, barely avoiding a collision, the truck skidding sideways and nearly tipping. "Whoa!" Alex shouted, fear slicing through his voice. "Keep your eyes forward." Jamie barked, heart racing. They couldn't afford to lose focus. Not now, but it wasn't enough. Just as Jamie regained control of the wheel, the shadows surged up beside them, spilling from the woods like dark water. They moved with terrifying speed, their twisted faces grimacing as they reached for the truck, clawing at the metal and glass. "Get away!" Jamie shouted, panic fueling his strength as he swiped at the windshield with his free hand, feeling helpless. The laughter morphed into wailing, and the whole world felt like it was crumbling. The wind picked up suddenly, blowing a frigid gust through the cab, erasing sounds and leaving a chilling silence that felt more oppressive than the chaos. It was a calm before a storm, a deceptive pause that sent chills down Jamie's spine. Then, the dark horizon he had been desperately avoiding closed in on them. The boundary between light and shadow blurred, and a thick fog rolled in, obscuring their vision. Jamie's heart raced, his instincts screaming to slow down, but he couldn't stop. The shadows were at their backs, and the darkness ahead promised something worse. "What is happening?" Lily whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know," he shouted, frustration slipping into despair. "Just hang on." The fog thickened, swirling like a living entity, wrapping around the tires and pulling them down into a darkness deeper than before. Jamie fought against it, but it was consuming them, pulling them towards something unseen, something sinister. As they drove deeper into the murky unknown, feelings of dread flooded their minds. Alex and Lily exchanged terrified glances that said what words could not. There was no turning back now. Suddenly, the truck sputtered, the engine coughing as if it, too, was succumbing to the darkness. "No, no, no!" Jamie cried, shaking the key in the ignition. It was as if the shadows surged forward when he lost hope. And then they emerged from the fog, gliding into an eerie clearing. Ghostly silhouettes of trees twisted overhead, branches curling toward the ground like gnarled fingers. In the center, a dilapidated cabin loomed, its windows dark and foreboding. "What is this place?" Alex whispered, his voice trembling. "It looks like the cabin, but how?" Lily gasped, fear clawing at her throat. A dreadful certainty settled over him. This wasn't over. They hadn't escaped, they were lured back, drawn in by a methodical malevolence. As the shadows grew closer, surrounding the truck, Jamie's heart pounded in his chest. The laughter returned, louder and more chilling, wrapping around them like chains. How long could they hold on? What awaited them in the depths of this new horror? And who could they trust when the evil was everywhere? The air felt heavy with dread as the cabin loomed closer, its weathered wood creaking in the wind like a twisted old man. Jamie's heart raced, a frantic drum echoing in his ears. The shadows pressed against the truck's exterior, their cries morphing into a cacophony of despair and malice. "Drive!" Lily shrieked, her eyes wide with panic. "I'm trying!" he gasped, fighting against the suffocating grip of fear that tightened around him. The engine sputtered again, as if it shared in his anxiety, the amplified sound of its dying breath echoing the hopelessness in their situation. "Get out! We can't stay here!" Alex cried out, his voice raw with desperation. "Are you crazy?" Jamie shouted back, scarcely believing the thought of stepping out into the unknown. "It's worse out there." But Jamie's instincts screamed at him. They were being drawn into a trap, an inescapable snare crafted by the darkness. He could feel the shadows slithering around the truck, eager fingers tangling into the fabric of their reality. "Look!" Lily pointed, her voice shaking. A figure had emerged from the shadows, a shape slowly materializing just beyond the glow of the headlights. A woman, pale as moonlight, stood with her arms outstretched, inviting, yet ominously still. "Stay in the truck!" Jamie shouted, panic coursing through him. But it was too late, the cabin door creaked open, a long sigh escaping the structure like a haunted breath, and the woman's voice floated over, sweet and enticing, "Come inside, I can help you." "Help us?" Alex scoffed, disbelief coloring his tone. "She looks like she just crawled out of a grave." But the figure beckoned again, her fingers curling in a way that made Jamie's skin prickle. The laughter intensified, a mocking sound that sliced through the air. The fog thickened around them, blurring the line between reality and illusion. "Get ready to go!" Jamie yelled, determination igniting in his chest. But the words felt futile against the onslaught of shadows. Lily ripped off her seatbelt, and before he could scream for her to stop, she flung the door open. "No! Don't!" he shouted, but the shadows rushed toward her like moths to a flame. "Lily!" Jamie yelled, panic exploding in his chest. "Jamie, help me!" Her voice trembled as she was yanked toward the figure, her desperate grasping fingers slipping into the mist. No! He screamed and flung himself out of the truck, adrenaline surging as he sprinted toward her. Each step felt like running through thick mud, pulling him down, urging him to retreat. When he reached her, he seized her arm, pulling her back just as the woman lunged, teeth bared, eyes gleaming with a malevolent hunger. The air crackled as Jamie and Lily fell back, knocking into the tightly closed truck door. The world felt impossibly cold, and he knew they were running out of time. Get inside. Now! He barked. But the shadows were relentless, their laughter turning sinister as they closed in, wrapping around the truck like a suffocating shroud. With trembling hands, they scrambled back toward the vehicle, the dark figure watching, unhindered, a twisted smile spread across her gaunt face. "There's no escape," she hissed softly, her voice chilling him to the bone. That in a surge of fear, Jamie climbed back into the truck, slamming the door just as a clawed hand shot out toward him. They were surrounded, panic surging as he slammed his foot on the gas. "Hold on!" he yelled, and they rocketed backward, slamming into the shadows. As the truck screamed away from the cabin, the darkness chased them, its tendrils reaching out, clawing at the back of the truck like a beast denied its prey. What lay waiting for them in the miles ahead? Would they ever find safety, or were they caught in a web spun by raging fury and haunting secrets? In that moment of dread, a chilling realization washed over them: they weren't just fleeing the shadows, they were taking a piece of that darkness with them. And the question lingered painfully in the air: would it be enough to consume them both? The truck tore through the blinding sunlight, but Jamie could feel the panic yank at his insides like a hungry predator. The laughter of the shadows echoed from the looming trees, reverberating in his mind. "They're still behind us," Alex shouted, voice strained with fear. "Keep going, Jamie. We need to get out of here." A part of him felt the weight of their desperate flight. Each bounce of the truck felt like a heartbeat, a race against time, a race against darkness. Ahead, the road twisted jagged, scattered with debris. "Where are we going to go?" he yelled, searching for a way to outpace the horrors that swirled at their heels. Resignation clawed at him, the weight of dread turned the world into a dismal shade of gray. The fog briefly lifted, revealing the horizon stretching wide before them, a boundary line, shimmering like a mirage. Was it real, or just another trap waiting to swallow them whole? "Drive there." Lily pointed, her eyes wide, infused with a flicker of hope. "We just need to keep pushing forward." With their hearts set on escape, Jamie stepped on the gas. The roar of the engine filled the air, drowning out the mocking whispers from behind. The shadows chased diligently, clawing at the truck with hungry hands, desperation spurring their momentum. "Faster! They're coming!" Alex shouted, his voice panic-stricken. "Hold on!" Jamie still felt the frigid claws grazing at the edges of his sanity. He blasted through the twisted scene of trees, blasting through the hum of ghostly winds that clutched and pulled, intent on dragging them back. It was a race, not just against the woods but against their own fears. The breaths came sharp, every turn felt like another descent into chaos. Lily looked over, and Jamie could see fierce determination in her eyes. "Who were you fighting for back there?" she shouted against the wind. "Was it Cassandra?" "No. I fought for you," he yelled back, raw emotion crackling through the air. "For both of you. We're stronger than it all." The truck shuddered. Something hit a back tire, sending a jolt through the vehicle. What was Alex started to scream, but Jamie cut him off. "Just hold on tight." They were nearing the edge of the woods, limbs whipping, the treetops engaged in furious battle with the wind. As they burst into the open daylight, they felt the sudden release of tension. But behind them, Jamie could still feel the shadows shifting and swirling, angered, lashing out. A chilling realization loomed. If Cassandra's gone, then what are we carrying forward? He thought, fingernails digging into the steering wheel. Without warning, the ground ripped apart ahead, revealing a chasm where the pavement used to be. Jamie swerved the truck hard, almost feeling the rubber screech against the asphalt, but the shadows surged after them, an insatiable tide. "Keep moving. We can't let them get to us," he shouted, rallying their dwindling courage, but the earth beneath them trembled. The complexities of darkness unveiled themselves, an entangled web of their own doubts and regrets. Suddenly, from the horizon, a figure stepped forward brighter than the sun, crowned in light, almost too radiant against the shadows. Jamie squinted, a figure resembling a woman but wreathed in light. "Get to her, she is the answer." "Who is that?" Lily yelled, throwing a glance back at the shadows, lost for sanity. But Jamie already felt something in his chest, an instinctive recognition. "Move. She is the key," he urged, the thought sparking hope. They accelerated, closing the distance, every part of the truck vibrating with fear, trembling as it soared towards the light. Jamie could hardly believe what he was approaching. The figure began to take on form. It was Cassandra. Not the fractured form they had encountered before, but whole, glowing, a spirit renewed. "Help me," she called, her voice lighter, more vibrant than ever. "Help yourselves." The shadows cowered and hissed, thrashing around in fury as they galloped towards the light, desperate to avoid its embrace. "Listen to your heart," she continued, piercing through their fear. "You have the strength of your memories, and they can help you break free." Jamie felt the electric energy surge, something deep inside awakening. "We'll help you, Cassandra," he roared, gathering all the strength he could muster. "But you have to trust us." Lily and Alex nodded, fear still simmering but giving way to the chance of hope. The truck careened forward, shedding the darkness like a skin-long shed. "Together," they cried, their voices blending into a singular call for strength. The ground shook surreptitiously as the figures lost footing, the shadows wailing in defeat. Cassandra's form twinkled brighter, infusing them with renewed strength, spilling warmth over their bundled fear. "Let the light in." The darkness roared, blind fury closing in, but Jamie held on to the light, imagining all the laughter, memories, love, the shared moments that had defined their lives together. And in that moment, he realized the ultimate truth: this wasn't merely a battle against shadows, it was a testament to their resilience. As they surged toward the brightness, it shattered the darkness. Brighter, brighter, like breaking dawn. They broke through without looking back, light washing over them, bursting with warmth as the shadows imploded, screaming into the void. The pain subsided, and they felt an exhale around them as if nature itself had drawn breath. They emerged, the world stretching out before them, a world untouched by shadows, shimmering in its vibrancy. Where are we?" Alex's voice faltered but held wonder. They looked around, realizing they were back on a clear road, surrounded by familiar woods with sunlight pouring through, birds chirping, alive and vibrant. The laughter exploded into goosebumps on Jamie's skin. "We made it." Lily squeezed Jamie's arm, shaking her head in disbelief. "How did we do that?" "It didn't just happen," Jamie said, feeling a strange sense of lightness sweep over him. "We chose to fight. We broke the hold of darkness together." They stood for a moment, a profound silence descending, a weight dissolving in shared realization. The memory of Cassandra lingered, but the fear no longer held sway. They had faced the shadows and emerged free. Jamie took a deep breath, glancing back at the wood's emptiness now where they had faced their fear. And though there was no telling what shadows still lingered, they felt the lingering warmth of connection flow through them. "Are you ready?" Lily asked, glancing toward the road leading into their future. Jamie smiled, steadied his grip, and turned towards the open horizon. "Together," he whispered. And together, they moved forward. "Now, here's where you come in. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more amazing friends. Don't forget to flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this intense conclusion. And remember, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second.